Pokemon Pokopia is potentially going to be one of the biggest Pokemon spin-off games of all time, if they play their cards right. I probably should specify a little bit here, though. Let's instead say the biggest Pokemon spin-off game that costs something. Like, I don't think Pokopia is going to be the next Pokemon Go or anything, but I do think it's going to do better than the likes of Pokemon Snap, Conquest, Ranger, Dash, and Detective Pikachu, that's for sure. And technically, that's not a very high bar to pass. I'm always surprised by how relatively poorly Pokemon spin-offs do compared to the main games. Like, I know obviously they wouldn't sell even half as well, but as Arlo reminded me in a discussion video not too long ago, Detective Pikachu Returns barely sold more than 100,000 units. Like 120,000 or something. Compare that to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's 26 million. That's 216 times more. Unfortunate truth be told, that's the reason why the Pokemon Company doesn't do many big spin-offs, especially these days. Most Pokemon spin-offs these days are free mobile games, like Pokemon Smile and Pokemon Sleep. You think they're gonna do Pokemon Posture in the near future? You see, I'm a bit of an ergonomics fan. Split keyboard, vertical mouse and all, but my cables are a mess and my chair is... oh no. So, big thanks to today's sponsors, FlexiSpot for the E7 Pro standing desk and their new C7M chair. You can do all sorts of things with a FlexiSpot desk. Draw, journal, magic, Vigigame, contemplate existence, Wisconsin. So many options thanks to its 440-pound capacity and adjustable height, both lower and higher than I'd ever realistically need. And a swanky 15-year warranty helps too, especially if you plan to pile 300 plushies on it. It's good to let your body stand up for a while, let that spine realign. But even when sitting, a breathable ergonomic chair will help reduce your own wear and tear. We're talking a chair with an adjustable back, seat depth, headrest, and lumbar support. But unlike most chairs claiming to support your lumbar, the C7M focuses on sacrum support, which automatically supports both it and the lumbars. It's even more ergonomic. Check out these 5D armrests. I thought they were needlessly complex at first, but after using this chair for a while, I can fully endorse it. It's so comfy, weird armrests included. I also always thought the idea of a pop-out leg rest and super reclinability on a desk chair was odd, but again, having tried it, oh, is it comfy. Whether you're working or gaming, there is no excuse to wear your body down with poor posture. And with the coupon code C730, giving you $30 off with the link in the description, along with FlexiSpot's risk-free 30-day return policy and a 10-year warranty with direct replacement for damaged parts, you need not worry. Check out FlexiSpot's many options with the link below, and now we pet the cat and get back to the video. Pokemon fans, myself included, come up with all sorts of really cool ideas for Pokemon spin-off games. Heck, an Animal Crossing-esque game, but with Pokemon, is an idea I've seen floated around the internet for longer than I've even had this channel, at least 10 years. Actually, are there any genres that you couldn't make Pokemon related? There are so many different kinds of Pokemon with so many varying backstories and designs that surely anything is possible. An RTS with medieval Colossian Pokemon armies, a 2D platformer or Metroidvania switching between a couple Pokemon with different exploration styles, a tower defense game, an Overwatch-style shooter, a parkour racing game, WarioWare Pokemon Edition, a Souls-like, a Warriors clone, an open-world survival game, a short indie-esque horror game with ghost types, a Punch-Out clone with fighting types, a mystery detective game with... wait, no, they did that one. But of course, obviously there are genres that work better and worse with Pokemon, and I think the fans know that already. That's why the fan-made Pixelmon got so big. The idea of a Minecraft clone, but with Pokemon in it? The doy, of course, it's a no-brainer. And for the more, as much as I hate the term, hardcore gamers, there's Pal World. I'd argue its literal overnight success, outselling most Pokemon games even, is due entirely to the Pokemon Company themselves never making an open-world survival crafting Pokemon spin-off game, despite fans asking for something along those lines for years. I mean, it's one of the most obvious multi-million-dollar ideas in all of gaming. Market demand rarely lies. But while you can put Pokemon in literally any genre, there's a problem with that. The market overlap. There are a lot of people who really only play one, maybe two games, just over and over for thousands of hours. MMOs and annual sports games or competitive shooters are the stereotypical examples of that, but Pokemon is a big one too. I personally know more than a handful of people who don't really play video games at all, except for Pokemon and maybe like Wordle or something on their phone. But maybe Maybe if the Pokemon Company makes a different genre game and makes it Pokemon related, that'll encourage these players to branch out? Well, that'd be the hope, right? But the sales, for the most part, say otherwise. And think of the reverse. Were they trying to convince fans of Final Fantasy Tactics and Nobunaga's ambition to try out a Pokemon game with Pokemon Conquest? Again, I'm sure that's the hope, but I'm sure the folks deep into those games would look at Pokemon Conquest and assume, yeah, it's the same genre that I love, but probably kiddified, so I'll pass. And so the hardcore Pokemon fans and the hardcore Tactics fans alike mostly ignore it. Most of the people who bought it are the people in the middle of the Venn diagram. They like or are interested in this style of strategy game, and they like or are interested in Pokemon. But just how big is that overlap? How many people are Pokemon fans and competitive fighting game fans, for instance? How big is the fandom crossover between Pokemon and on-rails shooters? Or Pokemon and detective games? That one is really tiny, apparently. But I would absolutely argue that compared to all other genres, I think the overlap between Pokemon and cozy games, like Pokopia, probably has the biggest overlap. Not a complete circle, but the biggest overlap. Because let's be honest, Pokemon is an extremely casual game. It's baby's first JRPG. Stop. That's the description. And I love it, but that doesn't make that untrue. Single-player Pokemon is a comfy and rarely challenging game, until the credits roll anyway. And because of that, I think it attracts a lot of people who just want to run around a virtual world collecting cute little dudes without much pushback. Those are often the same sorts of folks that like to play a lot of comfy, cozy games. They want to build cute little islands for their friends in Animal Crossing, create creative creations in Minecraft, just chill and farm in Stardew Valley, or literally just unpacking. In unpacking. Which brings me to an interesting, though anecdotal, point here. Personally, I'm not one for most cozy games, but my wife is, and one night we were hanging out, me on the Steam Deck, her using the TV to play the unpacking-like game, Whisper of the House. At its core, it's the same cozy game. While listening to some chill music to relax to, you set up and organize cute and cozy, comfy little rooms and just have a good time making it look nice. I literally could not care about this game less. It has great pixel art, I'll give it that, but I could not play it. That is until one bit, where it got a little creepy and anomalous. In one of the first missions of helping organize a house, you find weird footprints in the bathroom and later discover a mysterious crack in the wall behind a painting, which you can go into. Inside, there's another room, which spatially doesn't make much sense given the geometry of the house, but also apparently someone has just been living here in the walls, trapped and going mad, eventually falling out of this anomalous space and landing in the bathroom downstairs, creating those footprints. And okay, from this point on, I was hooked. I may not be interested in the rest of the game, but that story hooked me, and I started paying more attention to it as my wife progressed, and the mystery got deeper and deeper as it went on. Games like Strange Horticulture, Graveyard Keeper, Spiritfarer, Dredge, Harvest Island, they're all cozy games that normally I wouldn't care for at all, but that I like or even love because of the darker side of their writing and atmosphere. It's a really, really good hook to encourage you to progress and keep going, because you want to know what's going on. And I bring that up because of the strange lore implications of Pokopia that the trailer has at the start. If this trailer had started at the 35-second mark, just after the Ditto girl leaves the cave, I would absolutely have no interest in playing it other than I probably have to because it's kind of my job here. But actually, even then, I'd probably just hang out while my wife played it, which is probably what's still going to happen, but at least now I'm more interested in it. The trailer starts in a dark cave with what looks like a wheelbarrow and some other gardening supplies in it, and it's next to an odd trash or rubble pile. Then our Ditto escapes from a Pokeball that's just appeared here, looks to the side to see an old, cracked, broken Pokedex, half buried in dirt. It has a picture of presumably this Ditto with its trainer. And then Ditto turns into its trainer and runs outside, past another rubble pile. And by the way, I think this is the first time a Ditto actually transforms into a human in a game specifically. So yet another fun example of how the anime impacts the games instead of the usual other way around. What is all this saying? I have seen the theory proposed that this Ditto didn't just see the Pokedex on screen, because Ditto, remember, can only transform into something it's actively looking at the time. And yet, despite this trainer's head being covered, Ditto knows the hair of this trainer. Is this trainer perhaps just off to the side, out of the camera's view, in a broken or dead state, like the Pokedex and rubble implies, fallen into the cave Undertale style only to meet her demise? Then the Pokeball's emergency release system activates, releasing her Ditto so it wouldn't be trapped in a Pokeball for all eternity, lost in a cave? I highly doubt that was the intent, to be honest. Pokemon wouldn't go that dark with this game. Maybe. So then perhaps, is this the beginning of a split timeline situation? Are we seeing the very start of the timeline that becomes the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games? A world with Pokemon-built buildings and such inhabited entirely by Pokemon? No humans at all? Or was this Ditto abandoned by its trainer and now lives on an island inhabited by other abandoned Pokemon? Oh gosh, there's so many possible lore implications here. See, I'm hooked! And if Mr. Not at all into cozy games am interested in this cozy game, what does that say about the rest of its potential audience? Realistically though, given the game's blocky appearance and the Pokeball sort of digitally appearing in the cave, I wouldn't be surprised if this is simply the lore of what Pokemon do when they're stored in the PC boxes or in Pokemon Home. But still, the theory baiting is there, and oh, so tantalizing! But this is what I mean by, if they play their cards right? This introductory trailer could be the only thing even vaguely hinting at a possible something mysterious going on, and so it'd lose a lot of folks. But if future trailers show that there is something mysterious about this island, and there's some mystery to slowly uncover as you progress in developing this cozy place, then, yeah, there's a pretty good hook. But we'll have to wait and see, huh? Should I stream it when it comes out? I'm definitely streaming ZA all day for the first few days it comes out, so keep an eye out for that, and never stop using your noggin.